Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. This is our 9th episode. Today we're going to deal with the subject of pornography. What can I say about pornography? Well, I got some research on this subject. There was a Gallup poll on Muslims. They asked Muslims in London whether they thought viewing pornography is morally acceptable. And it appears in London that 4% of the Muslims who were involved in this poll said yes, it was. In Paris it was slightly higher, it was 7%. Whereas Muslims living in Berlin, 24% said that looking at pornography was morally acceptable. So there's quite difference between the Muslim communities living in different parts of Europe. So that was kind of interesting. Pornography in the West is all around us, and it appears to be acceptable at many levels. It's even more openly talked about amongst particularly Western males, but amongst Muslims I don't think so. But that doesn't mean that our Muslim youth and our Muslim males are not looking at pornography. And that's why I decided to, to bring this subject into the open for public airing. So let's think about pornography. You know, one of the reasons that I came to Islam was because I felt women had done themselves a big disservice. You know, from the sexual revolution in the 60s and 70s, with the onset of birth control, i.e. the pill, where women have been so-called liberated. We've been told, we've been fed the pill, literally, that anything goes. And whose benefit is this for? Whose benefit? Who benefits? Do women really benefit? I wondered about that. And I've thought about it for many years, because I was one of that generation that was told, you know, we can have it all. We can have jobs, and we can have families, and we can have husbands and kids, and we can have sex, and we can have all these things, and we can do all of it. But the reality is, actually, no, we can't. And when I became Muslim and I read the Quran, you know, it really does make sense. Islam is a very straightforward and really sensible religion, as far as I'm concerned. And one thing that I've always felt is that women, we have sold ourselves so short. We have given ourselves away because we in the West no longer respect ourselves and respect our bodies and value ourselves. And I think this is why more and more women, Western women like myself, have come to Islam. So I think that's an important thing to remember when we talk about pornography, and we talk about the kind of lax morals that are all around us. So I'm very proud to be a Muslim. Very proud to be Muslim. I'm very proud to wear hijab. I'm very proud and pleased that I have such respect for myself, and that I exact respect from from the men around me. I like it very much. Now let's get back to pornography. So what is pornography about? Pornography is effectively for men's gratification. I think women do look at pornography. I think I can't tell you what the statistics are, but I think it's hugely less. I think pornography is something, because men are visually, they're visually stimulated sexually. So what they see is the key, whereas with women we're much more emotionally, our emotions are much more connected to our sexuality. But with men it's their eyes. So pornography is about feeding images to men to sexually arouse them, and what? I don't know. They're feeding messages to men about women. They're feeding messages to men that women are objects, that women are sexual objects, that women are there to be used, and worse still, that women are there to be abused. I think pornography over the years has more and more become aggressive, has become violent, has become more and more humiliating and demeaning towards women. And I believe that from what I've read, that gay sex, with men is the same. And this is very concerning, because what is this doing to our morals? What is this doing to our psyche? What is this doing to our husbands? And what is this doing to our sons? When it comes to their understanding of women and how they actually view us, because of the constant exposure. And it's not just even looking at pornography, it's looking at billboards, it's looking at advertisements, it's looking at magazines. Everything is selling a kind of pornographic or semi-pornographic message to men about women being objects, whether they are selling a car, whether they are selling an ice cream, it really doesn't matter. Women are being used and are being abused minute by minute by minute. Now, the other thing about pornography, pornography is something that men can do in secret. It's potentially a hidden thing, and I think especially if you're Muslim, I don't honestly know of any Muslim that would admit to watching pornography, but I'm sure that that Muslims do. I'm sure of it, and I'm also sure that there are Muslim women who are, for whatever reason, taking part in pornography, and this must be acknowledged too, because you very rarely hear this subject brought up in terms of Islam, because it is totally haram. And not one of us is under any illusion about that. This topic is haram completely, and it's up there with adultery, it's up there with murder, it's up there with all the terrible sins that men and women do to each other in this world. I think this is just an opening to talk about this topic. This is just to see let's see what comes out of it. Let's see what comes out of this, because it'd be very interesting to discuss this one further, and also to see what the sisters feel about how we are being portrayed as women in this society. Does this amount of pornography and semi-pornography and this use of women to sell things, so women are used as objects, how is this affecting our relationships with our men as Muslims? you know, the male-female relationship. So these are things that are interesting and I'd like to know more about. Anyway, thank you very much. We've come to the end of the session.